Let's get rolling on a Wednesday. Glasses in session. We go to the Glasser guest line. Check in with Chris Level, who joins us. Give Chris a follow on X at Chris Level, publisher for RedRaidersports.com and host of the Locked On Tech podcast as well. Chris, great having you back on the show, man. And when the season started, we were previewing this Texas Tech game. We certainly circled this matchup against Utah on the schedule. We knew it would be a big one. Now that we're here, 4 weeks into the season, what would be your storylines going into this matchup on Saturday?
It is a big one, and thanks for having me, PJ. But it's funny because I really don't know how much we know about these two teams. I think we think they're pretty good, and they probably are, but we don't know, are they elite or are they just middle of the pack Big 12 teams? I go back to last year. Utah played in a similar game in September last year in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That was a top 15 matchup between those two teams, and they would end up finishing second to last and dead last in the league. I also am reminded that Arizona State came to Lubbock in the first conference game for Texas Tech and Arizona State last year. Texas Tech won that game, and Arizona State was the one that went all the way to Arlington and won the conference championship. So we're in for a long season. This is the beginning of it, but these two teams are very good, and they're very good up front, which is why I think they have some staying power. And that's really where the main storyline is who wins the matchup with their elite offensive line and what a lot of people think is an elite defensive line for Texas Tech.
Overall, how impressed have you been with the Texas Tech roster? Because, Chris, obviously coming into the season, that was the big talking point. Number one transfer portal in the offseason. This defensive line was supposed to be really, really good. How do you feel like they have been so far living up to expectations and just the rest of the roster as a whole?
Yeah, well, it's been very impressive because the first team defense hasn't allowed a point to be scored on them yet through first half of the first game, first half of the second game, and through three quarters of the third game. But these have been, call it what it is, glorified scrimmages in many ways. So the competition ramps up big time this weekend in Salt Lake City. But it does look the part. The depth is there, the talent is there, but this will be a different test, and I'm fascinated to see how they handle it. And is it elite? Is it just good? I mean, and there's differences there, the levels to this. But I think Baron Morton has been a storyline early on as well. I mean, he threw for close to 500 yards last week versus Oregon State, and basically just about three quarters of action. He's got 11 touchdown to one interception kind of ratio thing going there. And so, but Devin Dampier for Utah has certainly been very, very good and elusive and been the playmaker that they had hoped to add as well. So which quarterback plays best on Saturday could go a long way in determining this one.
Chris, when we had you back in the summer, it was the day after we got the news that Quentin Joyner, the running back for Texas Tech, had tore his ACL. Obviously a huge loss. How do you think they have replaced his production so far? And going into this matchup against Utah, who would be the guy or two that you think Joey McGuire and company really lean on in this game?
It's a great question. I do think that question remains in that, can you run it when you want to? When the game dictates it, it's short yardage. You just need it, or you need to put a game away. Can you run it when you want to? And I don't know if we know the answer to that. And I have my questions and concerns about that. I think that's very fair with the loss of Quentin Joyner. It's looked mostly good to this point. There's been a few times where you go, okay, see, this is what we're talking about. I do think that Will Hammond, the backup QB, I think they may use him like Texas did with Arch Manning last year. He may be that curveball, short yardage or red zone guy, that he's the quarterback with the backup quarterback with elusive tendencies with his legs, and he's more of the runner and things like that. They trust him to throw it too, but that's a new wrinkle that we may start to see more of. But as far as you're going to lean on your quarterback, and then I think you're going to lean on your middle linebacker on defense. I mean, it's Baron Morton, and with all the transfer talk, Baron Morton and Jacob Rodriguez will largely decide this game for Texas Tech. And Jacob Rodriguez, the Big 12 Defensive Preseason Player of the Year, and rightfully so. He's smart. He's old. He's just, I think, a next level going to play in the NFL type of linebacker. And those guys are probably who you're leaning on the most.
We're talking with Chris Level here on Send It In, previewing the big one from Salt Lake City on Saturday between Texas Tech and Utah, a top 20 matchup. Chris, another interesting wrinkle to this game, and we were talking about it a little bit before we hopped on air, was the fact that this is a 10 a.m. local kick Mountain Time in Salt Lake City, right? So it'll be 11 a.m. for Texas Tech, Central Time, 12 Eastern kick, noon Eastern kick. Do you think there's an advantage for either team? And like, is Joey McGuire, have they been prepping a little differently? Have they been practicing earlier? Have the kids been waking up earlier? Like, have they been doing anything different to prep for this game? And do you think there's an advantage for either side?
Well, early morning kicks or 11 a.m., which is what it'll be to Texas Tech's body clock. We always hear that term when it comes to college football and the selection committee and all those things. It'll be 11 a.m. to them. They actually practice early most of fall camp. This is part of their weekly routine where they have like a 6 a.m. practice every Friday morning and things like that. So it's probably slight advantage to Texas Tech because it's early and not a nighttime kick, just because it doesn't matter where you are. The environments are just different in these early morning kicks versus nighttime, when everybody's got a chance to get revved up and enjoy their favorite beverage or 10 of them, and that's just that's a different vibe. I do think it'll be a tough place to play. I don't dispute that at all, but it won't. It's just not going to be the same as it would be if this was a 6 or 7 o'clock kick at night there in Salt Lake City.
Do you think these are the two best teams in the Big 12? I know earlier you said we really haven't seen them yet against elite competition. This game, we're obviously going to find out a lot. I know Iowa State's had some good performances. Baylor had a nice win against SMU. Do you think, as of right now, Chris, that these are the top teams for you, though, in the Big 12?
They have staying power because they're better up front than most teams. And that will last. I think there's depth there, there's talent there up front, and that's a bit abnormal in this league. I'm not ready to say that they're better than Iowa State, though. To this point, Iowa State's proven more. They've gone on the road and they've done it. They've had the tricky game. They've had the out of the country game. They're 1-0 in the conference. I do think that Texas Tech and Utah both belong in that upper tier to this point. And I think TCU, I think BYU, Arizona State. I mean, this is. Maybe we're starting to see some tiers of contender versus it's not going to look good so far. But I do think these are two of the teams amongst the top 4 or 5. It looks like right now, but one team really handles the other on Saturday, and we're going to feel very differently about that. If this is a double-digit win by either team, we may have our doubts about the loser of that game. Again, as I said at the very beginning, it's very early, but I think because of what you have up front, I think that you've got some staying power with these two.
Should be a great one, Chris. Come right down to the wire. Who do you think ends up winning the game on Saturday?
Well, I mean, I can't not say the Red Raiders, right? That would be sacrilege from where I'm sitting talking to you from Lubbock, Texas right now. I think this will be a one-score game. I think like 45% of Big 12 games last year came down to a one-score game. It's worth noting that Utah's kicker was 1 of 4 last weekend. So if it is a one-score game, it'll be fascinating because you got 2 new play callers on offense, and again, this is the first real test for a lot of these folks. But if it is a close game, I mean, I like the Red Raiders kicking situation better than Utah's. But I guess we'll see who's right.
So many times these games do come down to special teams. So great note there. Chris Level, kind enough to join us here on Send It In. Give him a follow on X at Chris Level, publisher for RedRaidersports.com and a host on Locked On Tech Podcast as well. Chris, have a great time this weekend, man. Enjoy the game. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, keep hope alive, PJ. Appreciate you having me on, sir.